Hey everybody, look, we're at the end of May and I wanted to do a few market updates because I haven't done one in a while. And as you can tell, it's because I had surgery. So it's been a little bit harder to kind of get everything done, but working through it. Recently there was a headline. So there's going to be multiple videos that you're going to be able to watch. There'll probably be 2 long videos, and then I'll break it down by some of the markets. So if you just want to watch your particular market, it's going to be a lot easier for you to watch. But let's start with some headlines that hit the news recently, which is actually kind of scary. I'm going to be honest. I'm going to come at you from a statistics standpoint, but then I'm also going to be really real as an agent about what it looks like and how to kind of work through some of that, like just scary crap of how expensive it's getting. So give you perspective. In 2022, Colorado was the 34th most expensive state to live in. That means most of the states, over half of the states, were more expensive to live in than Colorado. And that was 2022. So that we're only talking 4 years ago. And what's really alarming is in the last 4 years, Colorado's gone from 34th most expensive to 3rd most expensive. Now that's crazy. But let's talk about that. Here's what the headlines aren't telling you. So that's the headlines right now. Scary. It's probably makes a lot of people wonder, is it the right time to buy a house? Is it the right time to buy a house in Colorado? Should I sell my house and leave the state? Those are all great questions. We're going to talk through some of those. So bear with me as I do the one-arm wonder thing, but I'm going to take a look at some slides in front of me. So when you see me look down, it's just because I've got some slides in front of me with statistics. So first, let's talk about this. Not everything in Colorado costs the same. Not every market is the same. So where we take a look at Colorado becoming extremely expensive, I didn't even put Boulder on my slides because Boulder, the median house price in Boulder right now. So if you were to go buy a house in Boulder, and let's do a real quick definition. A lot of people are used to the word average instead of median. So average just means add up all the houses that have sold, divide it by the number of houses, that's average. And it can be a real skewed number. Median means it's the number in the middle. So if I give you a number of 500,000, that means half of the houses sold for more than that, half of the houses sold for less than that. It does make a little bit of a difference when you're talking numbers, okay? So I didn't even put Boulder on my slide, and you're gonna see some of these numbers that are gonna be next to me here. But Boulder's median house price is over $1 million right now. That sounds crazy. It's almost unbelievable. I had to go check the numbers more than once. Boulder's median house price is $1 million. It is one of the most expensive growing cities in all of Colorado. So that's what's driving some of the cost across the country. So now let's talk about the rest of the state in northern Colorado, Denver North. First of all, let's talk Denver. So most of you watching this, you may be from, some of you may be from Denver, some of you may be from out of state. But I handle real estate in mostly northern Colorado. Even though I can handle it everywhere, I try to stay in northern Colorado. But the Denver median house price right now is selling for $535,000. It's not terrible. It's actually a little bit higher than the national average, but that means half the houses sell for more than $535,000, half the houses sell for less. In Windsor, that's a more expensive area in northern Colorado, and the reason it's more expensive is it's prime real estate. It's an up-and-coming area. It's kind of a, I want to say bougie, but it's an upscale area that really. And the Windsor median house price is $574,000 right now. Johnstown, a little bit less expensive. There's a lot of new construction popping up in Johnstown right now that's driving costs down. Median house price in Johnstown is $498,000. The median house price in Severance is $439,000, and the median house price in Greeley is $420,000. And that's really interesting because when you take a look at that, that means if you're going to move to somewhere like Severance or Greeley or even Johnstown, you're looking at anywhere from $40,000 less in the Denver area, or all the way up to $110,000 less if you're interested in moving to the Greeley area, Garden City, Greeley, Evans, somewhere in there. So even though Colorado is becoming an expensive state to live overall, you got to remember there's pockets of the area that actually are creating those averages to run higher than others. So location, 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 right? You guys all understand that. So now let's talk a little bit more about the cost of waiting. So if you go back and you take a look at my video that I posted a few days ago called Facts Friday, I talked about the cost of waiting. And I won't get into all of those details. I'll put the link in the description actually. But on that video, I talked about the cost of waiting if you're going to borrow $500,000 for a house today at 6.4%, you're building equity now. If you wait a year and the rates drop to 5.9, what happens when the rates drop to 5.9 or they drop that much in a year? What happens historically, and this happened in 2019, we saw it, home prices jump 5%, sometimes more. So that means the same $500,000 is now going to cost you 525. You're going to save 0.5% on your interest rate, but really all you're saving is $29 a month, and you're losing about $30,000 in equity over the course of a year because the home equity went up 25,000, and the money that you would have paid into the house to create equity on your mortgage would have been about $5,000 total in principal. So the cost of waiting a year, absolutely massive. We don't see rates that are going to get much lower than the high fives probably for a while. That's pretty average. So we're probably going to get there at some point in the next year or so. But you've got to remember, go watch the video, Facts Friday. There's a huge cost of waiting if you're thinking about buying a house right now. So why is Northern Colorado growing so fast? Or I don't know about why, but what's happening in Colorado that's causing it to grow so fast? First, in Northern Colorado, there's lower price points in Northern Colorado versus Denver Metro. So Northern Colorado is actually growing faster. In fact, the population of Greeley is actually on pace right now for either late 2026 or 2027 for the population to actually surpass Fort Collins, which is pretty crazy. The other thing that's really driving costs to stay somewhat low in Northern Colorado compared to Denver, a ton of new construction along the I-25 corridor. We're talking Johnstown, Loveland, Windsor, even some of Fort Collins. And then as you come a little bit further inward, West Greeley's, there's a lot of new construction that's happening. It's keeping costs, that new construction is keeping home ownership costs at a real reasonable rate compared to other areas in Colorado like Denver or Boulder. The other thing that's happening significantly is employers are starting to move into this region. So there's obviously a lot of work in this region, and there's industry growing tremendously. But if you want to get even more nitty gritty, with remote jobs becoming very prevalent today, people are looking for prime real estate to move where they love the economy, where they love the climate, where they love having something to do. And let's face it, Northern Colorado is gorgeous. So guess what happens? We've got a lot of remote workers and high profile jobs moving into the Northern Colorado area. So it's growing that much faster. And what makes that nice, a lot of times that causes prices to rise. But what's happening is the new construction is keeping everything nice and smooth right now. Obviously, like I said, Greeley, Johnstown, Windsor, Severance, they're all growing right now because of that industry. And then, of course, at the end of this, I would say in the next 2 to 5 years, probably more like 3 to 5 years, what we're going to see is we're going to see a real upside before the rest of Colorado catches up. So what we're going to see is that these house prices in this area are going to stay steady. They're expected to only probably grow 3 to 5% a year for the next few years before it starts to catch up. So I think Northern Colorado is going to be one of those amazing pockets that actually stays more affordable than the rest of Colorado for quite some time. So here's another little secret, okay? And this is something that we can help you with it at Lead Edge really well. We've gotten really good at this. Owner-occupied duplexes and fourplexes. So if you're thinking of long-term investment and you don't need a large house, so whether you might be downsizing or maybe you're even thinking first-time home buyer and you've never really thought about this, there's a project that's, or not a project, but there's a funding mechanism called owner-occupied housing. And what that really means is, I'll use really simple basic numbers. Let's say on your job and your income and your credit alone, you can qualify for a house that's $300,000. Well, we all know that in Northern Colorado, that doesn't buy a lot. You could, but it doesn't buy a lot. However, what if you bought a duplex? And if you bought a duplex and you lived in it, or you bought a fourplex and you lived in it, and we'll just stick with duplex because the numbers are really easy. But if you bought a duplex for, let's say, $500,000, you live in one side, and when you buy that duplex, you get to use the rent that is expected on the other duplex to offset your mortgage so that you actually qualify for a higher loan, because it gets included into what your projected income would be. Now, yes, you do become a landlord, but if you buy the right property that requires little maintenance, which we can help you with inspections and appraisals, and you buy a property that's sought after that already has a renter in one of the sides, and you can live in the other side, you've just increased your equity and you've brought in an entire investment income into your portfolio. Most people don't even think about it, but we're good at doing the research for you at Elite Edge, and we can definitely help you with that and help you find some ways to make that work. So if you're actually ready to talk some numbers, I know it seems scary that the economy is actually feeling sketchy right now. That's going to stabilize. It always does. These economy things go in cycles. I know it feels off that the cost of living has gotten so much in Colorado, but again, you got to remember, it's only going to continue to grow. So if you start building equity now, then you're going to continue to build that equity through the economic growth with what's happening in Johnstown, Loveland, Greeley, Windsor, Tinmouth, and Fort Collins. Do you want to catch that wave when the wave's already landed and prices have gone up in the next 2 or 3 years? Or do you want to get in on that as soon as you can so that you're building equity into that wave? But my name's Terry Ocana. My contact info is going to be here. There's going to be plenty of numbers on the screen, and I'll put some of these slides in that you can download. If you're looking to make a move, come and talk to me, send me a direct message or an email, and we can definitely get you the numbers that you need and help you understand them and connect you with a lender if you need one to help you understand what your specific needs are. So thank you very much. Have a great day.